During the day, this renaissance occurred. This curious boy was carrying a vintage lens. But not any vintage lens, a radioactive vintage lens. Now, was this curious boy afraid of this vintage lens? No, not really. Not in the slightest. But that's only because it's barely radioactive, and the reason he mentioned it in the first place was to make you believe it was cooler than it seems. At first glance, this lens may resemble any old vintage lens you'd find in a dusty box sifting through old camera gear while visiting your family. So what makes this lens a renaissance in the first place then? Is it some crazy cool vintage distorted wide angle? No, it's a standard 55mm focal length. That radioactive fact seemed pretty cool and interesting. This curious boy thinks this has something to do with some thorium radioactive lens coating or something. He doesn't really know. He doesn't really care. It's really because this lens from 1962 kicks any modern lens's ass today. Any modern lens. Those boring, sterile, clinical modern lenses. I can't be the only one who thinks this though. As a plethora of online creators try to sell you the newest and coolest hazy lens filters that make all your highlights bloom for the low price of $95.99. And don't forget to buy one for each thread size for all your different lenses. Maybe you already fell down the rabbit hole of all the different YouTube creators online trying to sell you their newest LUT pack ranging from $10 to $100. And you spend 2 hours in DaVinci tweaking the grade anyways because you can rarely just slap a LUT on your footage and call it a day. Not this renaissance lens though. There's a reason for when crafting the look for Matt Reeves' Batman, cinematographer Greg Fraser looked for the dirtiest, grimiest, jankiest anamorphic lens he can get his hands on. Examine his choice to use an ancient Soviet-era Helios 58mm photo lens. They just don't make them like this anymore. The lens I'm talking to you today about is the Otto Takamar 58mm f1.8. This lens, the version I have at least, was manufactured in 1962. 60 years, 6 months, and roughly 19 days ago. This 64-gram cylinder of iron and glass, built to last, radioactive beast of a lens. That renaissance occurred while all the grit was poured into these lenses by those fabricating them in the 60s. Within the assembly lines, the lives of dedicated workers intertwined with radioactive thorium and lens coatings, all in the pursuit of bending more light into this lens. They truly just don't make them like this anymore. But maybe I should shut my mouth for a moment and give the lens the spotlight it deserves. So I bought this particular lens from one of those cozy, quiet, all-you-can-imagine camera stores in Burlington, Ontario. December 2022, I think. Named Burlington Camera Digital, this store is truly my dream. You walk in and are immediately greeted with all these cool vintage cameras. A collection and mix of vintage lenses, all types of mounts. All types of cool, quirky featured lenses. All this is not even mentioning the show and tell basement filled with the most random photography knickknacks you can find. This is where you find lenses, how they used to make them. Are you wrong for using modern lenses? No, not at all. They come with kick-ass features that image makers back from the 60s and 70s would kill to have. Vibration reduction, optical stabilization, autofocus. These are all paradigm-shifting features, all unveiled in the last 20 years. But it still remains so damn boring. I made the same mistake. How can I blame anyone when that's all that's lauded to us from the manufacturers and companies we trust? Can we blame them? No, they're just trying to offer the best product possible in conjunction with the tools we have nowadays. The first lens that I bought for this barely decent Sony a7R II was a Zeiss 35mm f2. I love and hate this lens. Love, great autofocus, great sharpness, so small and easy to use. Hate, $600. This Auto Takamar though, $100. Why go through the hoops? The hoops to make your brand new, sharp, modern lens look like it was made in 1962. Why? When this lens is right in front of you. And not even just this lens. Look around, Kijiji, eBay, Facebook Marketplace, even your grandpa's old camera gear. Delightful, gorgeous lenses that allow you to capture and shoot as intended. Allow your camera to capture the character of your lens. I hope you enjoyed that video for today. It was kind of different. Obviously you can tell I'm kind of looking off a script as I talk because I suck at memorizing scripts, but it is what it is. I hope you enjoy this style of video. I'm going to try to make more videos. I've been slacking a little bit. You can tell I'm in a new setup. A lot's been changed since my last video, which was back in January of this year. But you know, we move, time and life moves on. But that's all I really have to say for today. If you have any questions or comments, you can always hit me up on Instagram and the link in the description, or you can just leave a comment. And I hope you have a good one. Bye-bye.